Hey, welcome to Amp Up Solar Talk. Today we're joined by Oscar from Canadian Solar, and we'll be talking about who Canadian Solar is, their EP Cube energy storage system, and their US-made TOPCon 450-watt solar panel. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat. We love to hear from you. Hey, Oscar, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, again, we're happy to have you here. And for those who may not be familiar with Canadian Solar, who are you guys and how did the company get its start?
It's a great question. Maybe I'll introduce myself. I'm the general manager for Canadian Solar across North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Under my leadership, I oversee all the module business for Canadian Solar in the region. We started in Canada back in 2001. This is 24 years ago. And this is like a regular startup. Started out of a garage. Our founder and CEO, Sean Shu, still our president and CEO to this day, fell in love with the solar industry back in the day when he had exposure to the technology in France and decided to venture out and start his own business. And went to the local Service Ontario, we call it, when you go and register your company, and they ask him, okay, what name do you want for your company? And he's like, I don't know about Canadian Solar. and Canadian Solar was born because he didn't thought of a name before they asked, what name he wanted for the company, and the name was available, and that's how we started it. Back in 2001 in Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada. So it's been quite a while since we decided to start this venture.
And when did you guys start into the whole home system kind of solar, residential and commercial?
It's a great story. The first product that we had at Canadian Solar was a little solar module that was meant to trickle charge a battery of a car. So we're doing a little things on solar application and different technology, and there was this opportunity from car manufacturers that were looking to address a particular issue they had when shipping manufactured cars in Germany and other parts in Europe over to the US and Canada. And the cars will spend like 3 months on the water on the way here. And those 12-volt batteries, the car will basically die on the way over, and that was costing them too much money and actual customer satisfaction when they were delivering these cars. And you will drive up the lot, and 10 blocks later the car will just stop and strand you on the side of the road. And so that was the first product that we ever designed. And then from there we grew into designing modules or panels for the residential market segment, for the commercial industrial market segment, and for the utility scale market segment. So we started very early designing products for the residential market. That was when we first started doing modules. That was the first market that we entered and designed a product specifically for that market. We've been doing it for a while.
Solar. Okay, so Canadian Solar all started from a trickle charger for 12-volt batteries on buses. On boats coming over.
On cars, actually, yes.
While the batteries were on boats coming over, yes, for cars.
Correct. So the trickle charger will be installed on the windshield of the car inside, and it will be plugged into the cigarette lighter where they will be deployed and trickle charge the battery of the car while they were on the boat or on the way over here.
That's a cool story.
It's a great story. A lot of people don't know it, but I like telling it because it has the humble beginnings, and that's how we started to become, one of the top 5 solar manufacturing companies in the world. To this day, yeah.
Come a long way.
Yes, absolutely. Great story.
So, What would you say is the design philosophy behind all of your products?
We first start with the actual customer needs, and the customer in this business for us is both, uh, you know, the homeowner, the end user of our products, and also the installers. So it's kind of like a B to B to C business model where we know our products are going to get used by, in the case of residential, by a homeowner, but the installation will be, by an electrician or by an installer. And we want to make sure that the products are easy to use for the homeowner, but also easy to install, easy to design for the installer, to make sure that um, everybody um, is happy with the systems and the products that we design here. So we start, with what is it that installer needs. It needs a module that is easy to sell. Maybe the homeowner has some aesthetics requirements, and they want, to pass what I call the wife or the partner test, right? So when I install panels on my home, the first thing my wife asks me is like, "Is this going to look good in our roof?" Right? So um, that's the reality of what it is. We are making these decisions as homeowners not by ourselves, but also with our partners and significant others, our better halves. And then for the installers, is this going to be too heavy for me to lift up on a roof? Is it going to meet the requirements of the local AHA? Um, how about the wind loads? How about ease of installation and design? Is it going to be easy for me to design this in multiple systems, or I have to go and redo the work every time I do it? So we start with the requirements along the value chain all the way to the end user, homeowner in the residential space, and that's the philosophy we take when we design our products. It's not like a one size fits most. It's what is actually needed in that specific market segment that we want to serve.
That sounds great. So performance and ease of use for not only the installer, but also the homeowner, and then aesthetics as well.
Of course. So in the residential
Yeah.
market, we want to have the best and more efficient product. So every time we're lifting one of these panels on our roof, we know that our installers can install the most watts per square footage in any given roof, right? So that will lower our total cost of installation, and make our life easier. Maybe take less time installing the same size of a system versus other products available in the market. And then for the homeowner, okay, it looks great, or now that we have the EP Cube system, is it friendly to use on my phone? Is it providing me all the information to make sure that I'm making the most out of the system and the investment I made on my roof, and to lower my electricity bill at the end, or maybe provide some resiliency if that's what you're looking for. So what is it that you're trying to solve as a homeowner, and what is valuable to you, and you decided to invest in a solar plus storage system in today's world?
So you're always listening to that customer feedback.
We always listen to customer feedback. We encourage everybody, who's watching this interview to provide feedback, through Signature Solar, or directly through our channels as a manufacturer. We love to hear from you, and we take all that feedback and put it into our product design engine to make sure that the next generation of products are even better than the ones before.
Wow,
So
that's great, Oscar.
super important
Yeah.
for us as a company, as a manufacturer. We, and myself as a leader, customer service and after sales support is super important. It's something that we sometimes take for granted, and then when we realize that the others are not providing that level of services, that when it strikes you and say, geez, I should have just gone with somebody that provides me a better service. It happens all the time. So for me and for the company, we value feedback and customer relationships very highly. For manufacturers, is not typical, but that's something that we do very well at Canadian Solar. We, every time I talk to a customer, I always ask them, what can I do better? How can I help you, achieve what you're trying to do, whether it's installing faster or installing larger systems of a homeowner, ease of use, or aesthetics, or what is important for them, that we can go and incorporate that feedback into our product design and the next generation of product, make it even better.
That's really great, Oscar. Thanks so much for sharing that. We do have a question from Royce Bluford. He says, are you going to build optimizer into your panels and not just a bypass diode?
It's a great question. Actually, I personally myself looked at this so many years ago. I remember more than 14 years ago. We did have back in the day a product that incorporated module level power electronics, we call it, right on the module, based on different policy at the time, where you're actually mixing electronics with the module, that the market really took a separate approach in between incorporating electronics into a generating asset. Security systems, access to data, and privacy, those are external factors that go beyond what it makes sense from a technical point of view. From a technical point of view, yes, it makes sense. It has some limitations because the module is exposed to the element. It's very hot. When these things are under sun exposure, they get hot. Electronics don't typically like to be that hot. So there's some limitations technically of what we can do. But if we can solve those with the technology that we have today, but beyond that, we're getting into more issues around policy and a generating assets that has some electronics. So you're taking something that is dumb and making it a little bit smart, which, although it should be that way for safety and security concerns on power generating asset, the market hasn't gone that way. So it can be done technically, but the different market forces are preventing us to actually go down that path, if it makes sense.
Okay, so what I hear you saying then is, because of the MLPEs, the way that the sun affects them, and you feel like the bypass diodes is the best way to go for your market that you're selling your panels to. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you separate the actual power generation asset with just the diodes and put the electronics somewhere else, even though it can be mounted at the rail and in the roof, or maybe as a string inverter in this, somewhere else, it's better to just separate the two components in a system, because again, safety issues and cybersecurity, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the most important thing. You don't want to have somebody be able to control that asset that is on the roof. And that's the security I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the security I'm talking about. Cybersecurity reasons, yes.
Yeah, that's a big question these days as well. Since we're talking about solar panels, let's go ahead and talk about, let's spotlight the USmade TOPCon 450 watt solar panels that you guys have come out with. What makes
already
these panels and what makes them stand out?
Already 450 watts, incredible.
Yeah.
For a residential product. I was actually in our manufacturing facility a couple of weeks ago, which is not so far from your offices in Texas. It's in Mesquite near Dallas.
Yeah, just down the road.
Just down the road. And I saw actually some modules go out of the production line up to 460. That doesn't mean that the 460 panels are widely available commercially today, but we are hitting those powers. So 450 is kind of like our main power class, but we also have 455s and 460s in lesser quantity, of course, but incredible efficiency. The fact that we're bringing the best technology in solar that is available today in the market and actually assembling that technology here in the US is a big step moving forward into onshoring manufacturing, bringing back technology and manufacturing jobs to here to the US. So we're super excited. And the other products in the market that are assembled in the US, they're good, but they're not as close, as efficient and higher power classes as we have available. So we're super proud of this product. on this module that we're making available to the market in the year.
Well, tell me what this means for customers, being able to manufacture them here in Mesquite, in the U.S. Is this going to, I know with the tariffs, this is a big deal. U.S. manufacturing is a big deal. Is this going to make a difference for quality and lead times and availability for our U.S. customers?
Absolutely. Everybody's getting affected by tariffs. This is something that is affecting every component of the solar system, and not just the solar system, but everything that we buy in the market. By actually us bringing manufacturing to the U.S., assembling these modules here, you're somewhat protected from those tariffs because we're only importing certain components of the module and not the entire module to the US that will be subject to those tariffs. So it's less impacted than just using foreign modules that are subject to the ever-changing policy from the new administration and on tariffs, when they're on and they're off, they're on, they're off, and that creates uncertainty and creates a supply chain disruption in the market. By having these modules assembled in the US, you're guaranteed that you have a continuous supply of products for your projects, and bringing the Canadian solar technology and quality to the US is also a big difference, right? Because our plant has a large capacity, it's a 5 gigawatt manufacturing site. We have the economies of scale to make sure that we're building our manufacturing the best products with the best technology in the market. And that can only be achieved at a scale, like I said. So best technology, best in quality, and lesser risk of supply, to me, is just a win for everybody.
Well, I tell you what, you talked about aesthetics, and these things are beautiful. I've got a couple of them behind me, black on black. That's pretty cool. But before we run out of time, I also want to talk about the EP Cube. Can you give me a high-level overview of what the EP Cube is and what sets it apart in today's energy storage market?
The EP Cube is an energy storage solution that is modular. It's all in one, everything that you need to pair those beautiful panels that you have on the back with your storage system. This is the solution that everybody was looking for in terms of like modularity. It's not just like a big piece of equipment that you need a special jack or a forklift to move around. These are just batteries that you can actually lift up yourself and move around. I actually, have one installed in my house, and I basically was able to carry every battery back to my house myself, in my own truck. No, I know a guy that sells his batteries and modules, and they give me a good discount. So I installed one in my system in my house, and I was able to basically carry it myself. And then we installed it like on the back of the house, and not easy to get to. If I would have had a bigger battery or a bigger system, this was just like so easy to maneuver around the side of the house, and it looks beautiful. So my wife is super happy the way it looks, and with the panels, it just looks so sleek. So the curb appeal in our property, was maintained, and I would say even proof at the end of the day. Everybody, all our neighbors are like, "Oh, what you guys did, it looks great." And we said, "Well, you should get one too." So a lot of our neighbors are actually, installing these systems, and in California, I live in California, so our energy, our electricity rates are really through the roof. They're so expensive. So this is helping me, lower my electricity bill, and also providing some resiliency. So, because of the wildfires, the utilities in California are now just basically preemptively cutting power. They'll send you a text on your phone and say, "No, because of the high winds, we're going to cut power in half an hour, and tentatively for 2 hours or 3 hours, and we'll let you know when the power is back." So this system works perfectly for those outages that are not a system failure. Is just the utilities cutting the power to prevent the wildfires in our region. So super happy. I have all the information right on my phone, so I know the electricity production. I have 2 EVs as well, so the system provides power to the 2 EVs. And with the on my phone, I know exactly where the electricity is going, where it's getting produced. I'm selling back to the grid. I'm supplying my house, and other loads. And the EVs apparently are fully charged, and the battery's fully charged. So it's been a great day for production today. You know,
Very
uh,
nice.
but yeah. So for as a home owner, my wife and my family just love this app because they know exactly what's happening. So it's creating a mindset of like, okay, now I need to go and turn the AC off because I'm consuming too much power. You're being energy conscious, and that helps a lot. It's information in the palm of your hands that will help you make educated decisions on how to use electricity today.
Right. So obviously you're tied to the grid. Can these be used in an off-grid scenario as well?
That's a great question, and they can. I'm right now. I'm here in Canada, where I'm from, and we sell a lot of these systems for off-grid applications. There's a community here of like holiday houses that we call it cottages, and most of them are offline. They, or they have a very unreliable connection to the grid and operate off grid for a long period of time, maybe days at a time. Um, and this system works just great. You know, the ease of carrying it to those cabins out there near the lake, and ease of installation, is proven to be a hit in a market where it's fully off grid, and that needed some support, not just depending on gensets running on gas or propane.
And battery backup is automatically there with this system, and so you've got it.
Yes, it's quiet. You don't have this loud genset going off all the time. And maybe if you want to add a genset to, add reliability to your system, you typically run it for a couple hours to charge your batteries, and then it's peace and quiet, like it should be, and when you're enjoying time off. So
Right.
perfect application for grid installations as well.
Sure. Nice. Royce has another question. He says, is Canadian Solar building your own type of, and I'm not sure how you say this, so forgive me if I mispronounce it, but perovskite panels?
Perovskite.
Okay.
Perovskite is another technology on solar PV. The technology that you have on the panels on the back is called TOPCon. It's fairly new. The market is just starting to adopt one. Perovskite is another technology, another different technology on cells to actually convert sunlight into electricity. We're working on it. We're working on so many other different technologies, and our R&D usually focuses on looking at all these technologies and see what it would be best for a commercial reliable product. Remember, these things need to operate for 30 years and longer out there in the field. So we spend a lot of time and research and resources on looking at different technologies and see what will work best. So we're looking into it like many other technologies. We're looking into it, of course. The technology is just not ready yet for full commercial operation and adoption across the market. It works great in the lab, I can tell you, but it's not ready for prime time into a commercial operation yet.
Thanks, Oscar. Our time is really up, but I do have one more question I want to ask you. The solar industry is changing so rapidly and so fast. Where do you see the solar industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you think that that's going to impact everyday homeowners?
The solar industry, if you're new to solar, our base guidance or holy grail is efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. We want to make sure we extract the most energy out of the sun. So in 5 years, I would not be surprised if instead of a 450 watt module, we're going to have maybe a 500 watt module or somewhere close to that power class and efficiency. So making things more efficient, meaning you can produce more power with the same footprint, and also continue driving the cost curve down is something that we strive for in the solar industry. So the quick evolution of the industry will continue to lead us there. Where we are today is, a grid parity also for both the solar PV and the batteries. I think in 5 years we're gonna actually outperform a lot more other energy sources, and be the the incumbent technology out there for generating electricity in not just in the US but around the world.
So I
Maybe
just
I'm
have to
biased.
ask.
Maybe I'm biased.
Well, and that's okay. You have a right to be.
Yeah.
So I just have to ask one more question. So since it is changing so rapidly, and we have this tariff thing, and we have the changing of the tax credit, for someone who's been saving up for their solar system, and maybe they're just about ready to buy, ready to make their big purchase, but now they feel uncertain. There's so much uncertainty. What advice would you give to that person?
Work with reputable companies like Signature Solar, backed up by OEMs like Canadian Solar, that are going to be here for the long run. That you have somebody to call if you need support, somebody that will answer the phone and be there for you. And this is the time to do it. There's no better time to go solar than now. Whether you want to lock in existing incentives that may be changing in the near future, or whether you just want to start cutting the cord and being less dependent on the grid, this is the right time to do it. When I bought my house, the house already had solar on it. And the first thing I did when I bought the house was just install more, because there's no better time to do it than right now. And so far, the system has been in operation for almost 2 years, and I'm almost ready to, actually install more. I think I only installed a 20 kilowatt hour stack of EP Cube. I should have installed 2, and now I'm like, okay, let's go and install more, because this is the time to do it. There's only going to be more and more environmental threats to our way of life, and by going solar, you're actually reducing your dependency on the grid and increasing the resiliency at home. So this is the perfect time to do it. Prices are actually great. Believe me, I know a little bit about this. So there's no better time to go. So don't hesitate. Work with experts, and make sure that all your questions are answered.
Thanks so much, Oscar. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you're traveling, but thanks so much for sharing your insights and for giving us a closer look at what makes Canadian Solar such a trusted name in the solar industry. And to everyone watching, appreciate you joining us today. If you want to learn more about the EP Cube or this USmade TOPCon 450 watt solar panel, visit us at signaturesolar.com. And don't forget, join us next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central, and we'll see you next time for Amp Up Solar Talk.
Ellie, it's been